You're listening to those two IM Guys podcast. You'll find interviews, reviews, and interesting topics discussed inside with your hosts, Tony Earp and James Kennedy. So, what are you waiting for? Get inside! Hello and welcome to another episode of Those Two IM Guys. I'm James Kennedy and I'm here with my co-host, Tony Earp. Tony, do us the pleasure of introducing our incredible guest for today.
Yeah, I will do, James, and it is my pleasure. First of all, hi to all our viewers and listeners. Thanks for taking the time to be with us. And yeah, let's say a big hello and welcome our amazing guest, Steve Mellor. Hi, Steve. How are you doing today?
Hello, I'm very good. Thanks. How are you guys?
Excellent. Really doing well, thank you. And again, thanks for taking the time out to be on the show with us today.
That's a pleasure.
We appreciate it. Now, Steve, we're going to just start off very easy. We're going to obviously be discussing your new product, which is absolutely amazing. Myself and James have been through the product in fine detail, and we're going to be discussing that in more detail with yourself.
Loving it.
But just to sort of break the ice a little bit, let's just tell us a little bit of a fun fact about yourself, please. Something we don't know, we're not aware of.
A fun fact. I'm not sure there is anything fun. I tell you, I've got about 1,000 DVDs here.
Well, that's a fun fact.
If that's a fun fact. If the plaster in this wall goes, it will fall over, and then emergency services will find me chewing on the remnants of the Fast and Furious franchise to keep alive. Oh, yeah, I don't know. I'm a big film buff. I'm a massive film buff.
Yeah, me too. I can relate to that.
That's a fun fact. I used to be a comedian. Is that?
Yeah, that's definitely a fun fact.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I do know about you that a lot of people won't know is that you're an actually fantastic photographer as well. It's a big passion of yours, isn't it?
It is. And I have a whole photography YouTube channel where I talk about, as I go out and take photos, I talk about the process of going out and taking photos and then come back and change them. It is Steve Mellor Photography, if you wanted to search for that.
Go and check Steve's YouTube channel out, because I can absolutely recommend. I see stuff popping up on Facebook all the time. Because you share a lot of the content.
I do share a lot of that stuff.
Please go and check it out, because he takes some amazing photography.
Oh, thanks. That's very kind of you.
Shame I'm not about a bit closer, because I'm looking for a headshot just now, a corporate headshot. But hey ho,
James,
give a smile here. Will you do it?
James, I think Steve would definitely be photoshopping me and you, my friend. That's for sure.
Steve, before we go any further, just so I know if we're on the same page, Canon or Nikon?
Fuji.
Fuji, okay. So you're Switzerland, that's fine.
Okay. This is the real irony, is that the webcam that I'm using at the moment is a Sony A5100, so it's none of them. But I got into the Fuji system because my mum I used to shoot Nikon. Mm-hmm. Love the sort of the image quality of Nikon, and always wanted to do wildlife photography. Dad had a what's it called, D500, and then I got the lower version of that, which is a 7500. And then Mum decided she wanted to get a new camera, and she'd been shooting on the XT2, got an XT3, and I helped her set it up. And that one weekend, both Dad and I were seeing some of the functions that they had on that camera that we just couldn't do, like the autofocus and stuff like that. And within a month, we both ditched the kit we already had and then bought XT3s.
Wow,
because
awesome.
We're a family of photographers. So
yeah, that's interesting. As I say, I originally started off with Canon. My friend was busting my chops to go to Nikon. I went to Nikon and I've not looked back. But anyway, let's get back on track. I do apologise.
Sure.
We kind of go off in one sometimes here. So, Steve, I know about your product already because I have been absolutely buried in it, fell in love with it already, and I can't say enough good things about it. So, Steve, take it away. Tell us about your product.
Well, it's very simple. The product's called Webcam Advantage, and what I wanted to do, and it's a pretty grandiose scheme, I want to change the way that people are creating video. Because I've seen so many people make videos where all they do is they turn their webcam on, and maybe they understand OBS enough to record their webcam, and that's about it. And it looks awful. And yet these are people who then want to sell that video as a course, or who want to put that video up on YouTube, or who want to use it for social media, for other sorts of social media, like Instagram, or for Twitter now, because every social platform has got some sort of video element to it now. Every bit of business that we do right now has some sort of video connected with it. I mean, you won't find a product out there that doesn't have a video sales letter. They're ubiquitous. They're all over the place. And yet what we're asking people to do is to buy our products based on substandard video. And in the past, that didn't matter so much. I talk in the course a little bit about Frank Kern. Frank Kern made a video where he said, it doesn't matter what your video quality looks like. Look at me. I'm just filming on an iPhone. Which is okay for Frank Kern because he's got this massive built-in audience of people who not only buy his stuff, but tell everybody else to buy his stuff as well. And you know what? I'm pretty sure if you're watching this right now, you don't have that. You might have a small audience. You might be building your audience up right now. You might have been doing this for a few years, even so. I know the audiences that I've dealt with in the past, they're still not big enough to kind of support a sort of a launch that is going to keep you going day in, day out. Yeah. The launch model is really simple. You get a lot of money in one go, and that's it, unless you push it again. That's it. So you need to do absolutely everything you can to make that product look good, because there is a thing called costly signaling. And this is where you spend money to make yourself look good, or yourself look better, and people will then ascribe more value to you and what you do.
Yep.
It's a behavioral economics thing. This is why companies like for years, Sanyo spent thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds every year to have a big billboard in London. That was Sanyo saying, we're a proper company and we're not going anywhere.
Yeah,
that's what it was for. And you need to do that now through your video. And the quality of video that people are expecting has jumped dramatically because of Twitch, mostly, because what you've got right now is 13-year-old kids in their basements who are using the same equipment that you've got, but they are getting dramatically better video. And Webcam Advantage is going to take you from, I don't know anything about webcams, to being able to do the same sort of quality video that they are putting out.
Yeah, that's the problem, Steve, isn't it? It's not that people don't have the equipment already. They just don't know how to use it properly.
A large part of it is that.
Then chasing the next shiny object, the next piece of equipment they think they need, when they actually don't, because they've already got all the tools they need, to create quality video.
What's that saying again, Tony? All the gear and no idea. I think that was probably going to
sounds a bit like me with my golf, that, James. But in this context, I totally agree with what Steve's just said.
But then that whole idea is ubiquitous throughout the whole photography industry, through the videoing industry, through audio technicians. Audio technicians have a website called Gear Sluts, which is specifically for people to go and complain about gear they don't like and find out about the gear they should have bought instead. And yet you've still got people who are making do with what they've got and doing better stuff than any of them would have ever done, because knowing how to use that kit is so important. Knowing that a camera is only as good as the light that you've got is really important.
I'm probably your perfect customer, Steve, because as you know, I launch a lot of products. I need VSLs for every single one.
Exactly.
And if I'm being totally brutally honest and critical of myself, I probably don't put the effort into those that I should do. Mm-hmm. And that's very, very naughty of me, because it is a critical part of, obviously, you pitching your product at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is. And I think we're all guilty. I mean, I'm guilty of that with everything as well, because we do the best that we can, but we're all limited on time. We've all got a deadline that we need to get a product out by, or a deadline that we need to finish a promotion by, or something like that. We all have those problems. And so the best solution to that is to have a system where, as far as possible, you can turn on your equipment and press a button and go and start recording straight away, so that everything's all set up for you, so that you're not playing around with lighting for half an hour before you have to do anything, or trying to set up your green screen an hour before you go and then get the lighting wrong. And if you look at Tony's video right now, it sort of exemplifies some of the problems that you get with using green screen. That, you know, if you don't have the right lights, if you don't have a good enough camera, you get this fuzzy edge. You know, you don't necessarily get the best background picture, and that can have a problem as well. I'm not a massive fan of using green screen, but I know there are people who have to do it, and so, you know, people do what they have to do. They if they had all the money in the world, they do things differently, but nobody is in that position.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, obviously, that'll be watching this video or listening, our listeners will be kind of their limited budget. They've possibly got a laptop. They're trying to do this kind of industry on a part-time basis, hoping to get to the next level to quit their daytime job. You know, so they are probably like Harry Potter in a corner, a cupboard under the stairs, or literally, where can we squeeze in a corner? You know, I mean, I can take my background off here just now to show you that I'm in, although I do have an office here, my office is all soundproof for doing voiceover work. It's quite a miserable looking place, if I'm being honest. It's all black foam, and I've got a PA system here that's covered with some black stuff just to keep it kind of out of sight. So even if I'm not on screen, I'll usually blur the background like that, so it doesn't really show what it is. But I do prefer to have a background. You know,
the thing is, James, you yourself, and obviously me, as you know, the majority of us, we don't have massive workspaces, so you've got to utilize what you've got at the end of the day.
Well, this is it. I mean, right now, this is the position, the camera, the lighting that I use to record the course with, and behind me, if I turn the other way, that is the camera that I use to film the other part of the course with. This is where I live. This is where I work. There's a bed over there. There's somebody working outside. If you can hear those noises in the background, that's it. This is the space that I have. And so you could do one of two things. You can set up a green screen, which does mask that stuff off, but then you have inherent problems with that as well. Or you can make the space look as good as you can make it look, and go with that. And in some cases, I think it's better to do it without the green screen, to have the space that you're in. I know it's not possible for everybody, and like I said, some people are so cramped with space that there's so much clutter.
It's like myself at the moment, Steve. At the moment, I'm not at home.
No, exactly.
I'm in my holiday place.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm literally in a very tiny room here, even though I've got the green screen on.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be very flattering for me to sort of do the show showing that background at the moment, basically.
Exactly. And so that, there are legitimate reasons for doing it, but if you can set up something which is in a room and that you're using all the time, and that is, around you, and first of all, it means that my office space is actually quite nice, because I've got to keep it nice so I can make videos with it.
Yeah, it's quite interesting as well, because if people, not that, obviously I wouldn't want it to be a distraction, but like if people sometimes zone out a little bit in trainings and things like that, they could go, oh, he's got a Batman thing over, oh, he likes Batman, oh, he's got...
There is a thing, actually, studios have been doing this for years, where the way that you frame, and I talk about framing in the first course and in the last the upsell, the video Pro Masterclass, we go over compositional techniques and things. The way that you frame your shot, usually you use a thing called the rule of thirds. So I'm not quite sat on the rule of thirds at the moment. It basically means you're off to one side. But that does mean that if you're doing an interview and the interview is a little bit boring, people's eyes will start to wander around the screen. And Hollywood I say Hollywood, but TV production companies figured out fairly quickly that if people's eyes wander around the screen, they tend to wander off screen and then they'll go away. So if you put some interest in the background, then they're more likely to kind of circle back to the speaker. And it's a psychological thing, but it works.
TV, it's product placement as well.
Yes, it's a good place for product placement. Yeah. Buy Batman today.
Awesome.
You should have had a poster of your or an image of your product there behind you, Steve.
The box shot of.
Well, that's coming soon. Yeah. Okay,
now,
so do you want?
Yeah. I'll Steve, basically, you've already sort of told us about the main problems your product solves and how it helps users. who would you say is the main target audience for this, or is it anybody that uses video, basically?
Well, it's a little bit difficult to say this is the main target audience. It's built for people who are in business, who want to do business and know they need to use video, but aren't that particularly au fait with the video stuff. So that's really who it's aimed at.
Would it be fairly accurate to say the beginner to sort of intermediate user?
Well, yes and no. I mean, I've had some people who've been doing video for a long time. It depends what you feel you are as in terms of a beginner. You know, I know you've been making video for a long time.
Oh yeah, I mean, and when I went through your course, I probably knew. I'm not even joking. I probably knew 10% of that.
Yeah, and that's it.
I've had a massive boost in education from going through your course. Like I say, I'm probably your perfect customer, to be honest with you.
And that's really who the target market is. Somebody, if you're in business and you know you need to use video, and you can go. I mean, try it yourself. Go onto YouTube and see if the videos that you're making are as good as the general standard on YouTube. Because that's the general standard. That's what people expect to see from video. Yeah. Didn't used to be like that before. 5 years ago, even you could make much worse videos, and people would accept it because it was video on the internet. But video on the internet has taken such a massive leap in terms of quality. So many people have got the latest and greatest cameras and they're filming with those. And I don't just mean the latest DSLRs, but they're going out and they're buying film cameras, Alexa rigs, and they are filming YouTube channels with Alexa rigs. And people kind of expect to see that mirrored in the videos that you put out. So the best way of doing that is to be as good as you can be right now. It doesn't mean you have to go and buy a whole load of equipment, but just learn to use the stuff that you've got. And then when you do upgrade, you'll have an even bigger jump because you'll still know the stuff that you're, the stuff that you're learning in the course.
That's one of the key things I got from going through the course was that I already have everything I need. It's just I didn't have the knowledge how to use it properly. Yeah, and that's what your course has given me. Basically, it's given me a lot. It's educated me a lot more in what the possibilities and potential are with the tools I've already got.
Well, I've got to say I was thoroughly impressed, and I did actually go and buy a new shiny toy.
You did.
I bought a Stream Deck, and guys, anybody that's watching or listening, if you are using something like OBS Studio to create content right now, I'm going to tell you, I'm a mentor for a large group at the moment, thousands and thousands of people, and one of the biggest problems I have is getting these guys to be able to use OBS efficiently, or getting the settings set up and things like that, and actually being able to use it properly in any way. It's a bit of a struggle for most, but this video training course that Steve's brought out has been exceptional. I mean, it's going to be something that I'm going to be recommending to my students going forward, because ultimately it's got everything that you need in it. And something like Stream Deck, which again, as I said to Steve earlier, my son told me about them, and then I had watched other people using them and things like that. I thought, I don't need any of that fancy nonsense. And then I seen this training course, and I thought, I need that fancy nonsense. I need it. It's
because I stream games Mondays and Tuesdays. I don't do it really to build an audience. I'm just really doing it because I enjoy spending time with some friends and streaming. And of course, with things like the pandemic and things, you can't meet
I was single once before, I get it.
Yeah. So I've had a Stream Deck pretty much since they came out. And I know an awful lot of other marketers who went out and bought shiny new toy, went out and bought a Stream Deck, and they've never used them. They've kept them in the box. And so I know a lot of people have bought them and don't use them. I just wanted to do something. And that's what the streaming masterclass is all about. That's taking you. So at the end of Webcam Advantage, you get to a point where you've got OBS set up, you can record and you can stream on OBS. The streaming masterclass takes that a stage further. So in the beginning of that, you learn some more advanced ways of setting up OBS, some bits where you're using Canva to do some motion graphics and stuff like that. And then it goes into automation using the Stream Deck. And the stuff that you can do on Stream Deck is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, really, really phenomenal. And the other thing is, if you can't afford one of those, there is an app that you can get for both Android and for iPhone, which costs about £3 a month, something like that. You've got the XL version.
I don't know if we're going to be able to show that. It's not working with the green screen, but we've got this set up. If you look at these two bottom buttons,
this is one of the things. This is the Stream Deck.
Yes, but the bottom buttons here, they are actually our intro and outro for those two IM guys. Yeah. And it's so incredible. Just clicking that and it boom, it comes in. It's just
and it's amazing the difference it makes, James, isn't it, in the production?
So slick, honestly, so slick. And again, what I would like to kind of put out there as well, when Steve's talking about the quality of video, it's the audience. See, like going back, you're talking about Frank Kearney's got a massive audience. Even if he has a dip of 10%, it's not going to affect his wallet. He's still going to make $2 million on a production, on a launch. Yeah. It's not going to. He's not going to know, right? But for us guys, it will hit us. But more to the point, competition now, guys, is fiercer than it's ever been, ever.
That's true.
Because everybody wants to make money online, and everybody's got a laptop that's got a camera. Everybody can go out there and get an affiliate link.
Stand out from the crowd even more now, James.
I mean, the amount of people that talk to me, and I've not been doing that many actual review videos lately, but the amount of people that comment and say how professional my setup is, because I start off with an introduction here, I have a talk to the camera here, and then I cut away to an intro, a video intro, then I come back, and then we cross over to the screen with me at the bottom with another camera here. And then I can cut just to this camera, and then usually when I'm coming to the end of the actual video, then I cut over to this and I have a conversation again, because I've got like a brick wallpaper. It looks a bit funky, and I've got some of my nice books over there. Not as cool as your setup, I've got to say, but it looks a lot better than this doom and gloom of the foam roundabout. And then I've got a nice outro. And see, by doing that, people just say, James, you're so informative, you're so slick. And I get sales just because people like the way I shoot a video. Now, I'm going to be taking it to a whole new level with this training. It's amazing.
And the way that you present as well. And I just let me show your audience what I've got. This is my actual Stream Deck setup that I've started using to record videos with. So I have my intro there, and then I flipped the camera there, and then I've got the desktop there, and I can just flip between those settings whenever I want. Just at the press of a button. And the great thing about it is, because these are tactile. Now, if you get the phone version of it, not quite so tactile, but because these are tactile, you can literally just run your thumb over it. Yeah, and when I've got to go, it's the top button in one, you can do that. You can talk to the camera, you can keep talking to the camera, keep looking at the camera, and then press the button. It takes a little while to kind of get used to it, but once you do, it just makes everything so much slicker, and that makes a difference. It really makes a difference.
Huge difference. But Steve, obviously you've now told us two parts of the funnel. So the front end is the
Webcam Advantage, where you get I don't know anything all the way through to I can now set up the best quality camera that I can with the kit that I've got, and I know how to expand that if I need to. And I've set up OBS with the best streaming and recording settings that you've got, and a little bit about sort of very basic graphics in OBS that will just get you where you need to be. Streaming Masterclass takes that to the whole stage further. It gives you a production set up at your fingertips, literally at your fingertips, where you will be able to press buttons and go to the next scene, start your streams, end your streams, animate things in and out. What I'd like to do, I've got a button that I press and it makes my face into a circle and puts it in the bottom of the screen, and I can then move that around the screen if I need to. So if I'm presenting to something, if I'm explaining how a tool works and my face is over it, I can move myself out of the way. It's really useful, but usually you're just a square in the bottom of a screen. So we go beyond that. I show you how to install plugins that will give you so much extra for OBS as well, which are just phenomenal. And then the third part of this is the Video Pro Masterclass. And this is teaching skills that I used when I was doing corporate videos, to get the best corporate videos that I could make. And I came at corporate. I always wanted to make films when I was a kid. And I came at corporate video because I wanted to be able to justify getting the equipment to make films that I wanted to make. And I've made some short films in the past. These are real marketable skills. And I know they're marketable skills because I have sold them. People have paid me money, quite a lot of money in some instances, to make videos for them. And you don't need to know an awful lot. But what I'm going to show in that course, we go over the basics of the new setup in Canva. So you don't even need a load of expensive equipment to do it. I show you how to film an interview, which is basically how you set up lights to film a subject. And once you know that, once you understand that, you can do that with anything. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be a person sitting on there. It can be an object. It'd be something like that.
And I can speak from experience when you say this is a marketable service, because again, there's people that have came to me, obviously through the kind of coaching stuff that I do, and have asked me for one-to-one coaching, teaching them how to set up their OBS and showing them creating video intros and outros and doing all this stuff. And you can charge good quality money, guys. If you're watching or listening right now, Steve's technically giving you if you buy all three pieces of the puzzle, if I don't mind saying, that you're going to be able to take yourself to a consultancy level. You can actually be, and I don't think by going out there and marketing yourself as the video guru, but see, when people start watching your videos and they see how slick you are, you're automatically going to get people just contacting you and say, listen, I really want to know what you know. Can you teach me?
No, that's true. That is
true. It just comes to you naturally. You don't actually have to go and pitch it. But when you've got that knowledge, you could actually do that if you decided to. But it will come to you. It'll just gravitate towards you.
Yeah.
One of the things I'm most excited about being able to do with this as well. When I was putting together the video Pro Masterclass, I knew I needed to do a section on editing, and I was going to use a tool called Hit Film Express, which is brilliant and it's free. And then I was talking to an editor friend of mine, and she's in the streaming group that I'm in. She's a professional video editor. She does it for a living, day in, day out, and uses DaVinci Resolve. And she said, why don't you do DaVinci Resolve? And so what you're going to learn in that is the basics of using DaVinci Resolve as well. Now, that Video Pro Masterclass, I think it's like a 6-hour course all on its own. Wow. There's a lot. I mean, Webcam Advantage is about 3 hours. Streaming Masterclass is about 3 hours. It's about 6 hours for the other one, and a good chunk of that is the editing stuff, because I just take you through the process of doing it. But there's a lot to learn. But once you've learned that stuff, that again, marketable skills, and you're using a tool that Hollywood is using to make actual proper films with.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I've only heard good things ever about DaVinci Resolve, Steve. I've never heard anyone have a bad word to say about it, even the free version, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I use, because I have to have, I do photography, so I've got Photoshop and Lightroom, and I do video. So I thought, okay, well, I'll buy I'll get the Adobe full suite every month. Even now, I've started to think, would it be better to get the full version of DaVinci Resolve and then the photography bundle from Adobe? And because I'm actually blown away by the things that tool can do. It's really.
And are you still using the free version, Steve?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you don't need to use anything other than the free version. That's the great thing about it. Now, the other thing that I didn't mention this in the course as much as I probably should have done. A lot of the video that I'm talking about, you're only ever producing at most at 1080p, and a lot of people go, but I've got a 4K camera, why aren't you using 4K? 4K is a little bit of a canard, in that if you go and buy a 4K film and it's got any amount of special effects in it, the chances are that it will have been mastered at 2K, which is closer to 1080p than it is anything else. 2K is basically the standard definition for cinema. And the reason is that in order to make motion graphics at 4K, it takes 4 times the processing power, 4 times the time, 4 times the expense. So many of these videos that you're getting, that you'll buy a 4K DVD of, a 4K Blu-ray of, I should say, and watch in 4K is actually 2K upscaled.
Right.
And if they're doing it, the most professional video producers in the world are doing it. Why shouldn't you? And that solves some major problems right out of the gate, because most computers at this point, if they're not too old, can edit 1080p video.
Yeah.
And the upscale is just you going, all right, well, I want to set it to these settings instead of 1920 by 1080. And then the programs will upscale for you. They're very good at doing that now.
Can I just ask Steve, what we talked about the funnel? Could you just confirm the price points for us, please?
Sure. So for the launch, and it is for the launch only, and it will be jumping up quite significantly afterwards. I'm talking to people about the pricing points, and a couple have said actually you should be charging a couple of $1,000 for this.
Yeah, I mean,
and then adding to it on a regular basis.
Very comprehensive, Steve. I mean, no doubt the price will be significantly higher.
It will be. So the front end for the launch is $29.
Wow.
Which is, I know that's ridiculous, because
we're saying wow because we've had the benefit of obviously seeing
inside it, yeah,
delivering. For $29, I mean, it's just a no-brainer.
Yeah. The upsell, streaming masterclass, and if you're only going to get part of the funnel, then Webcam Advantage and streaming masterclass are two that really go together well. That's $67.
Okay.
And the video Pro Masterclass is $97, but it is like twice the amount of stuff that you get from the other two.
Yeah,
so,
I mean,
there's a good reason for it.
As I said, it's such a comprehensive course, and you go into like fine detail as well. That our viewers and listeners need to understand that those price points are crazy low, and they are only available during the launch period. Yeah,
I'm saying, Tony, this quality, without a doubt, and you know something, do you know what really kind of blows me away? We're talking about, it's a lot of time, it's 6 hours, and it's 3 hours, and it's 3 hours, guys. Listen, if you haven't worked this out yet, you're going to get like probably 10 to 15 years worth of experience and knowledge, with all the crap taken out, all the learning curves blown out the water, and you're getting the condensed version of getting everything you need within 12 hours. You could become an expert if you can retain it in a day. I mean, that's insane.
Don't be concerned.
The other thing I would say about the course is that it's not really, I mean, you can go through it sort of from start to finish, and it makes sense. And for some bizarre reason, it makes narrative sense as well. And I don't know why I take that much time to make video, but I do. But you can go over the course like that. But the real benefit of this is to have a resource that you can dip into later on. That you can go, I know that I've seen that somewhere. It's in here, and you'll. It's easy to find the stuff that's in there. I built it specifically.
I don't think people should be concerned, Steve, about the time it's going to take them to take the course. They should be thinking about the time it's going to save them in the long run. And
the money that it's going to save them.
Oh yeah.
Because again, even Steve shows, in which I found quite interesting, because as you know, we've done our branding video last week, Tony, and obviously I'm big on animations and branding and all that kind of stuff. Steve shows you how you can do this with a free resource, and you can create some of this content absolutely free, and that's incredible, because I know how much I pay for monthly fees on some of the softwares I use.
Every topic or subject we ever discuss on the show, James, what do we try and hammer through to our viewers and listeners? You've got to educate yourself about these things. Yeah. And this is exactly the same with video production.
I mean, I think when people genuinely think they know it all, and I was actually reading something the other day ago in a motivational book, and it was like every geniuses and experts learn every day. Average people, that's true. Average people, obviously know that they're not a thing, but they still know that every day is a school day, and idiots think they know it all already. And
there's that thing called the Dunning-Kruger Effect, isn't there? Where it's a psychological effect where if you've read a little bit about a subject, you think you know more than you actually do. And that's why people make stupid choices, because they've read a little bit about something.
A little knowledge is dangerous.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I've always been there's a phrase, a jack of all trades, and we look at that as being a bad thing, because because the phrase jack of all trades, master of none. We forget the end of that quote. I think I've got a feeling it's Shakespeare. Who knows? The end of that quote is, "But sometimes better than a master of one." Which changes the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it certainly does.
And I'm a very big exponent, I hope, of learning as much as you can about a subject, and then applying it as you're learning it, and then learning something else as well.
Best way to retain it is actually
it does. And especially when you're in business, because there is so much of your business that you need to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even if you don't do it yourself.
Video is not going anywhere, Steve. It's here to stay.
It really is.
It's only going to grow bigger and bigger and bigger.
And just to highlight that point, we have only 3-4 months ago have had Instagram saying that if you just post pictures on Instagram now, this really annoyed a lot of photographers. If you just post pictures on Instagram now, you won't have a lot of reach. Instagram, the site that was set up to share your photos, is just gone full on with video.
Yeah.
So at some level, if you're not doing video right now, you are massively missing out in a way that you wouldn't have done a few years ago.
Yeah. Well, myself and James are currently in a joint mid-project, Steve, and I've no doubt when we get around to doing the VSL for the sales page, that your training is going to make sure that our VSL for that particular product launch is 100% or even 1,000% better than it was going to be, for sure.
I'm really pleased about that, because that's why I set this up in the first place. I really want to help people to achieve.
But it's not very often that I'm like, wow, you can do that.
In all fairness, Tony, you're my resource guy. If I don't know it, I come to you. I'm like, Tony, I've got this idea. Is this possible? No, James, it's not possible. Yeah, it is, but you need this software. You need to have Zapier to integrate that with this. To do that, you need a Rubik's Cube to be balanced on your head at the time. It's just madness sometimes, the stuff this guy knows.
I think that highlights even better, the fact that I'm so sort of blown away by Steve's course. I'm super impressed with it. And I've no doubt that our viewers and listeners are going to absolutely love the content.
Yeah, I'm really thrilled about that. I'll let you into a little secret. When I was doing streaming masterclass, because the idea was just to introduce the Stream Deck and do everything, some of the plugins and stuff that I found when I was doing that have blown me out of the water as well.
Yeah,
some of the things you can do with the Stream Deck and OBS combined is just phenomenal.
And I think that again that highlights we all learn something new every day, don't we? No matter what skill level we're at.
Oh yeah,
always room to grow. Yeah.
Well, as I say, some of our viewers and listeners, they might not know video, they might not want to know video, but what I can say is, Steve, you should genuinely be very, very proud of the offering that you're bringing to the marketplace right now, because
thank you so much.
If people, I mean, some people are not into video, but I think if you don't grab this right now, you're going to come back in 6 months or a year and realize that this now is like $2,000 to get this whole package, and you will be kicking yourself, because I'll tell you right now, there's a few products that come out through like the JV Zoo platform and Warrior Pluses, and before you know it, I'm going to say one of them you might have heard of, one called ManyChat. I never got the deal at the time, and now it's like monthly. It was a lifetime deal at one time, guys. Yeah. And this is the things that sometimes, and I would look at your course here as the foundation of something that's just going to grow bigger and better, because I know that
is the idea, and I do want to expand it. And it's something I should say: if you get the course now, you will be grandfathered into changes that I make, because again, the idea is to sort of expand the people who are in it, and I want the customers that I get to go, hey, we've got this resource, it's absolutely brilliant, you need to go and get this resource as well.
James, the other thing I want to say as well is that obviously we're very selective in what we promote. We don't promote everything.
No, we don't.
We really don't. We only promote products that we truly believe in and we can get behind, and because we're putting our branding on the promotion at the end of the day.
Of course.
And Steve, we know better than anybody, don't we, about all the rubbish that's get launched, especially recently for some reason.
I've been promoting products now 2 years, something like that. I've worked with Chris Hitman to promote products for his list, and we've chatted before about some of the stuff that's come out in recent months.
It's shocking, Steve. Honestly,
awful. Having whole weeks, sometimes even months, where you have to try and find something that you promoted before because there isn't actually anything out there. So.
And the reason I was touching on that was the fact that your products in all those products that are coming out at the moment is a golden nugget that people really need to take the time to
stand head and shoulders up many things, without a doubt. I was going to say, I mean, guys, just so for our viewers and listeners, just so you know, me and Tony are getting emails and messenger questions all the time asking if they can come on to our show and promote their product. And there's people that I know, friends, and it gets a little bit awkward when I say, I'm sorry, it's just not in our narrative. It's something that's just not fitting with our model here. So I'm sorry, but no, you can't come on the show because what you're selling is not what we want to be sharing with our listeners and viewers, because really it's either not good enough quality or we know that it's not going to be supported in 6 months' time. And it's like, I'm just not going to subject
we're all about quality over quantity, James.
Absolutely. Hence why you find us having chats more often than we actually have interviews. Because
over the last month or so, it's been super difficult to find something that's launching.
Oh, it really has.
Get excited about,
Yeah.
So, Steve, tell us, when's it available?
Well, it's available from Friday the 29th of October until... Oh Christ! Is it Monday? No, it's the 5th of November, which I think is Friday. It's Friday. It's a 7-day launch. There you go.
5th of November.
Yeah, Guy Fawkes Night. I didn't even think about that. Yes, it's the weekend before Halloween till Guy Fawkes Night.
What platform is it, Steve?
We're on JVZoo this time. The first thing I launched a leatherworking PLR thing a couple of months ago, and that was on Warrior Plus. And so now I've moved on to JVZoo, and I think the next one's going to be on Thrive Cards.
Leatherworking, did you say?
Yeah, that was odd. AI came along and I wanted to have a go with it, and so I started creating articles, and I thought, oh well, okay, leatherworking, that's a thing that people do.
Yeah, a friend that does it. That's why I was asking.
Right. And so I released a thing called Premium Leatherworking, which is 10 articles, and they were good quality articles, sort of 1,500 words each. And if you know anything about the PLR niche, usually articles are around about the sort of 500 to 1,000.
And none of it in English, really.
None of it in English, yeah. So these were really nicely, beautifully designed articles as well. I'd done a bunch of work in Adobe InDesign so that each one had its own layout too. And you got templates in Word and in PowerPoint. So and that was my first product. And it was never meant to be a product where I was doing it to make money. It was a product that I was doing it to sort of dip my toe in the water more than anything else.
Well, we did a full episode on PLR maybe about a month ago or so now, and believe me, I thought I knew PLR. I use PLR. I use it as a starting point, should I say, to get and Tony absolutely blew me out the water, and I have shared it with a lot of PLR with a lot of my friends now, and obviously people that I talk to. So again, guys, if you've not watched our PLR video, we'll probably put a link somewhere in the video that you can click on that later at the end or somewhere, or definitely in the show notes, because it's definitely worth checking out as well. Tony, we've came to my favourite question.
I know.
You want to ask it?
As it's your favourite question, you can ask Steve this.
Okay, I know what Steve's going to do, but I'm going to ask him anyway. Okay, Steve, this is my one, because when I think of, I don't know if you've ever heard of a guy called John Lee Dumas, Entrepreneur on Fire, and he asked a similar question to this. So this is one that can inspire me, because it gets me thinking, and it gets our guests thinking. So imagine, Steve, tomorrow morning you wake up with nothing other than $100 in your pocket, the knowledge in your head, and a laptop. How do you start to make money again?
Well, first of all, I'd buy some trousers.
You've got your clothes on.
Yeah. And okay, invest. What would you have to invest in? Not very much, I would suggest. If you've got a laptop, the chances are it's got a webcam in it. So let's assume that we've got that. You wouldn't need to buy a platform to sell on because you can use Gumroad, which has got a free. In fact, Gumroad recently they said everything's free, but you just pay for the pricing for the extra little bit of pricing on each product. So you start to create a course, put it onto Gumroad. Gumroad's got an internal market, so that's a good way of selling it. As soon as you've made some sales, then you can invest in a few other ways of delivering a product. Maybe put a website together. You don't even need the $100 for this yet, do you? A couple of lights, I suppose, would be nice.
I was going to say, and then you go to McDonald's and spend the rest on fun food. Yeah.
No, the $100 I suppose you would use for advertising. It's the best thing you can buy is advertising. If you've got a product already, if you've got something out there, then all you need to do is put the thing out there. Well, but you've got the tools to put the thing out there because you've got a laptop, so you can do that.
Tony?
Yeah, it never ceases to amaze me the different answers we get to that question, Steve, to be honest with you, from different entrepreneurs. It's don't get me wrong.
What's been your best? What's been your favorite of those?
Oh, do you know something? I don't think I've got a favorite because I respect everybody's sort of answers, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
But it's great that you get such a variety of responses and answers to that question. Nothing's predictable, if that makes sense. You know, you've not got everybody saying the same thing. Everyone's got their own unique take on it, and yours again is another unique one today, which is very cool.
The fact that you're a product creator, you know, and again, we've had many people, and again we've had Cyril Gupta been on twice and gave us 2 different variations, you know, and both of them excellent, you know. Because I think ultimately as an entrepreneur, if you ask me 10 times in a row, I could probably come up with 10 ideas, because after the first initial question, then after that, I'm like, right, well, that would work, but I could also do this. I could go and buy a gold G-string and become a male stripper. You know, you would, whatever, you know, what you would literally come up with anything. You could come up with any ideas at all, you know.
That isn't a vision I want to sort of be thinking about at this time in the morning, James.
Don't fancy that, no.
It's one of those things where if you ask yourself a question, eventually your mind will give you an answer, isn't it?
I do that often. I go to sleep on it. I do that often. Tony, the legend, the king of bonuses, Tony Earp.
That's probably not. Steve actually hates bonuses. That when
I don't use them at all. I can avoid it.
You don't do any bonuses at all, Steve.
No, we don't.
Well, I totally disagree.
I'm the opposite. I'm going from one extreme to the other. But what I will say is that the bonuses that we do give are all appropriate for the offer. We've discussed a lot about DaVinci Resolve today.
Yes. So
included in our bonus package, James, is going to be a lot of assets that our viewers and listeners can use to, you know, develop their, you know, using their video projects in DaVinci Resolve that are specifically designed for that platform.
Plugins. And
no, these are assets, video assets.
Oh, video assets.
Yes.
Right. Awesome. Well, I want to kind of say that Tony always sets the bonus page up, but I'm going to take it to another level because Tony's got stuff here and we've got lots of stuff that's going to be amazing. But I'm going to actually create some personal bonuses for you, but only on the OTOs. So if you get the front end, you're going to get access to the bonus link below, and you're going to get access to everything that Tony's going to give you. And I'll tell you right now, it's going to be massive because I don't actually have a chair just now. I'm actually just sitting on Tony's list of bonuses for this product alone. You know. So,
James, just to clarify for the benefit of our viewers and listeners, so you're going to give a custom bonus for purchase of any of the OTOs in the funnel. Yeah?
I've got not specific, and let me tell you what I'm going to give. So if you buy OTO 1, now Steve talks about creating your own video intro, okay? And that's going to take you a bit of time, and you're going to use a free resource. And I'm going to say they're pretty good, but they're free. So obviously I use a really high profile platform. And if you decide to buy OTO 1, which talks about those videos, I'm going to create a video intro for you. Okay, me personally, you're going to send me your logo and I'm going to create you a video intro and I will then email it back to you. And so you will have, when you go into the bonus in OTO1, there'll be a link to message me. And obviously you'll message me with your receipt and I will do that for you. However, I know that the OTO2 is a little bit more expensive. It's 6 hours of content. I'm going to give you even a more incredible bonus if you buy that. I'm going to do your outro as well. So if you've bought the intro, if you've bought OTO1, you're going to get the intro done. If you buy OTO2, I will do your outro, again, completely custom. And if you don't have a basic logo already, I will create you a basic logo, guys. Now, logos can cost you anywhere from someone on Fiverr. Now, incidentally, nothing costs a Fiverr on Fiverr anymore. Nothing, okay? They will send you like a JPEG picture of something that they took. Oh, this is what your logo looks like. Click, and you can go and try and do something with that. You don't get anything there. You're realistically going to be paying anywhere between $30 and $100 for a decent quality logo, something similar to what I would make you. Okay, so you're not going to have unlimited revisions with this, so I need to make that apparent right now. So I will give you 2 revisions on what we do. You tell me your colors, the theme you're going with, I will go away and work on it. I will bring it back, and if you don't like it, I will edit it, and I will do that up to twice. And I will do your outro as well. So you're going to, if you buy the full funnel, you're going to get all Tony's assets. You're going to get the shed loads of bonuses. You're going to get a video intro, a video outro, and a logo created. Guys, this is going to take me a lot of time, more time than what you're paying for here today. But what we are trying to do is really support Steve on this, because I know later on when I'm promoting this and the offer goes up to a silly amount of money, then I'll be making I'll be making good commission on the bonuses then. But right now, it's going to cost me money. So if you want to really kind of screw me over, then you want to buy all this right now.
The thing is, James, the thing is, James, people need to get in early, because we're talking about that higher price point after the launch. And this product, guys, is worth that. It's worth the higher price point. Oh, so if you want to save yourself some money, get in early, yeah?
Yeah. Absolutely. As I say, it's actually going to be quite, I'll probably feel bad. I'll probably need to buy you a pint, Steve, after buying this. I feel as if I still owe you something after buying it, because it is, honestly.
That's good. But I mean, look, yeah, if you're getting that much value out of something, then I've done my job.
Absolutely.
Exceptional value. Exceptional value. Anything else to add, Tony?
Just to say to our viewers and listeners that all the information they need to find out more about Steve's products, there'll be a link below this video. Again, they'll be able to see all the bonuses that we're offering as well as part of the package. And aside from that, just thank you for taking the time out to be with us today. And a big thank you to our guest, Steve. I know he's very busy preparing for launch. So yeah, thanks for taking the time out, Steve. We do appreciate it.
It's an absolute pleasure.
Well, I've got to say, mind blown today again. You know, as I say, great guest, incredible course. I've loved spending time in there. I'm going to go and spend way more time in it and jump into the other one as well.
This is the first time we've had Steve on the show, James, but it
won't be the last.
No doubt there's going to be a few more amazing products over the next few years from him, and we'll look forward to.
I've already got the next one planned and a lot of it done already. So.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that is all.
Well,
we're buying into a franchise here. I love it.
Inviting you back on the show at a later date, Steve. Yeah.
Excellent.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in once again to those 2 IM guys, and we look forward to seeing you and obviously hearing from you once again in our podcast. Take care, guys, and see you soon. Bye.
Bye for now, guys.
Thanks for joining those 2 IM guys today. We hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to tune in next time for more interesting subjects, hints and tips on running your internet marketing business.